to the show. This is The Force Always. My name is Diz, aka David Zammit. Let's get on with the show. This is going to be a little bit different sort of setting. I'm standing up today because I've got some things happening in my life. Anyway, let's get on with the show. The big news today, another great fan film has been released. It's actually like a second part to that great film Beggars Canyon, Star Wars Beggars Canyon. It's now one called Beggars Canyon Dead Man's Run. Absolutely phenomenal. Just the angles, everything like that was great. I'll give you a more of a review of that later in the show. To more news, no news is good news when it comes to Starfighter and even The Mandalorian. Nothing at the moment, so we've got pretty much nothing. So anyway, let's get into views. Views is my story idea where I tell you something that I like to sort of be seen or heard in Star Wars. Today it's going to be very, very brief. Okay, so my story idea, I'm going to go top of my head. There was an announcement a couple of years ago where we were going to get a C-3PO and R2-D2 sort of animated series. Do I think that's a good idea? I actually do think it's a good idea. I think it sort of would relate to the kids very well. I would continue it if they could, because it does, bring in... so the kids would get enjoyment. They are sort of key quality type of characters. I would definitely do it if it is in the works still. I don't know. Anyway, so that is my views for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Reviews this time around is going to be something unique. The review is of this character right here. Look at that. Beautiful. Kit Fisto in the Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith. I love this packaging from Revenge of the Sith. This is the last time Star Wars really took care in their packaging for the figures. Kit Fisto, he unfortunately passed away in this particular episode by the hands of Emperor Palpatine. And, the beginning of his reign of hell. This here is one of my favorite Jedi characters. He's got the green saber, everything like that. Beautiful. This one is a 10 out of 10. There you go. Anyway, so that is the reviews for this time around. Let's get into the interviews. Interviews is usually questions I have that is usually on my comment section. But before I do, I want to sort of comment on the fan film Beggars Canyon, A Dead Man's Run. This is state of the art. This is just super, super slick. If this person or people keep on creating these Beggars Canyon, it's going to be a huge success. And unfortunately, I think Star Wars will get onto these guys, which I don't want to happen, but I think it may happen. But they are just hitting the shots with their shots, like the actual angles, the music, the characters, the voices, the AI look. But it's the story. It's the simple story that is just going really, really well. Just something interesting, something sort of slow. But this one ends off with a to be continued. This is yet another 11 out of 10 for a fan film. Not to say that fan films are doing it better than Lucasfilm in stories. I mean, it goes either way. But they are absolutely hitting the spot beautifully. Anyway, so that's my review. 11 out of 10 for Beggars Canyon Dead Man's Run. Check that one on YouTube. It's absolutely phenomenal. Let's get into the interviews again, which is usually Michael from Werribee South. He likes to sort of vent his, questions. So let's get straight into it. Michael from Welby South. What if Luke and Leia were raised by opposite families? Imagine Prince Luke of Alderaan and Leia of Tatooine Moisture Farmer. Well, that's very interesting. Yes, that would be, a very contrast, but pretty much the same result, but two different people. But, that was the fate of, one was raised in the desert and one was raised in luxury. So it was, but it would be a fun version to know. To more questions by Michael from Werribee South. And you can send in comments. Anyone can. Send in comments. Like, share this video, whatever you do. There's a little bit of advertising there. Anyway, so why did R2-D2 stop using his jetpack boosters in the original trilogy after frequently using them in the prequels? Well, that's easily answered because of when these movies were created and when they were able to give him boosters. When the prequels came, they were made way after the originals, so they had technology to have this little robot fly in the sky and look sort of real. And yeah, that's the only reason. It's technology and different decades. Ones were made in the early 80s, the others early 2000s. Technology really reigned supreme in when you could actually do things in Star Wars. Anyway, so to another question from Michael from Werribee South. What if General Grievous survived the Imperial era? How would his collection of lightsabers grow during the Galactic Civil War? Well, I'm sure it would just keep going. He loved to collect the lightsabers, but yeah, I'm sure it would just keep going. That's the best way to answer that question. Another one from Michael from Werribee South. What if Anakin Skywalker never fell to the dark side? How would the Jedi Order have changed with him as a prominent member? I think eventually he would have been recognised with leadership qualities, but always sort of had a go at, by certain members within the council. But I think it was destined for him to be a leader. Unfortunately, it was a very dark side sort of one that he led most of his life. But yes, I'm sure he would have become a good leader and a leader if was given that opportunity. Anyway, so the next question from Michael from Werribee South is the prophecy. Did Anakin Skywalker truly bring balance to the Force by destroying the Sith? Or did he bring balance by reducing the Jedi's numbers to match the Sith? That's a really good point, I'll tell you that. But technically, Anakin is meant to be the chosen one. The chosen one. There is a bit of a debate if Luke Skywalker is the one that got him to change his mind. Who is the one? I actually said to an actual Star Wars writer, an official Star Wars writer in a convention in America. His name is Matt Smith. I said it would be great if it was in the episode 9 or even episode 8, more like episode 9, that Anakin and Luke as Force ghosts were to grab the lightsaber and then destroy the Emperor together, finally. That would have been an absolute reason for both and for them being the chosen ones, but it would have been a great sort of thing. I know it sounds a bit out there, for, how can ghosts hold a lightsaber? Well, there has been sort of, Force ghosts touching material things and moving things. I just think that would have been a great inclusion to end the actual sequel trilogy in episode 9, somehow connecting that to where the story started, but you would have to do a lot of things before that and in story writing. But having Anakin and Luke as Force ghosts coming together as one with a lightsaber and then destroying the Emperor completely forever. And that's it. That's my thought. Anyway, so the final question by Michael from Werribee South, can you believe it, is Massacre of the Tusken Raiders, Attack of the Clones. Driven by rage after his mother's death, Anakin murdered an entire village of Tusken Raiders, including women and children. Is this generally described as an act of personal vengeance, butchery, or genocide rather than political terrorism? It's not political terrorism. This is just is something that was in him. He was just lusting for power, and he was also, disturbed that these Tusken Raiders had enslaved his mum to the point where she just died in his hands, and he was absolutely full of rage. And that's all it was, rage, and obviously lust for power that really caused him to have that massacre. It's when Star Wars gets political, it's not politics like we know in Earth politics. It's just politics is different in Star Wars, but it sort of simulates a lot of things in real life. But it is just rage is the best way to answer that question. Anyway, that is the show for this time around. Please subscribe to The Force Always, right there. The Force Always on YouTube. I'm here 3 or 4 times a week. This week and maybe the next week, it could be a little bit limited. I've got some pretty big things happening in my life at the moment, but I'm really pushing to get things out there and stay on top of this. I stay on top of the news, the views, the reviews, and interviews. You can get that 3 or 4 times a week with The Force Always. Until next time, my friends, keep rocking.